That's good stuff. What kind of whiskey is this?
I got Bullet right now.
Nice. That's good stuff. Like your style.
Boom, and we're live. Miles, welcome.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Appreciate you being patient with me. We've been chatting for the last month or so to finally get this rolling.
Yeah, setting it up, and it felt very smooth, very natural. You know. No, it's great to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. And guest number 2 now.
Let's go.
Like we're talking off air. So Chris was the first person to record here in the studio finally.
Sweet.
Just glad to have it up and running.
Passion Posse, baby. Shout out to Chris Johnson out there. Hopefully he's watching. It's my man.
Yeah, and well, actually, that's how I found you.
Okay.
So I moved here, and my coworker said, if you do a podcast, you got to listen to Passion Pod.
Yep, absolutely.
So I was like, I was started to listen to one episode. I'm like, screw it, whatever, and just went all the way back to the beginning. And here's Miles Blvd. I'm like, oh, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, rap, not really something that I would put two and two together normally.
Yeah, naturally. I get that. Yeah, for sure. But no, it's that was really cool how that all came together because I've known Chris since I was like really young. I'm talking like 12 or 13 maybe because he used to work at Zoomies in the mall, and I was a skate rat. I grew up skateboarding, and so Chris would be the dude. He was the cool guy at the shop that like gave everyone their setups and was teaching, giving pointers on tricks, and was just the cool vibe, just the cool energy whenever you walked in there. And like the skate scene was kind of like low key in Eau Claire. We didn't really have a spot that really was an authentic skate experience, right? Zoomies is like a corporate brand, and so like. That's what we had, but it wasn't great. And so Chris, when he started at Passion, I was all about that shit, dude. Like, hell yeah, we finally got a local skate shop here. There used to be one called Underloud a long time ago. But it was just like the scene needed that rejuvenation, and Chris was the right spirit to do that, man. And he's just blown that shit up, dude. Passion is great. Passion's fantastic. And, just we were talking one day, we were having some beers. He's like, dude, I want to start a podcast. I just love to talk, and I love to talk to people about what they're passionate about. I think I could do it. These other people out here, like, I don't know. I just feel like I can do it. And I was like, fucking do it, bro, do it. And so he's like, do you want to be the first episode? I was like, hell yeah, I do. So we just made it happen, man, and it was great. I was honored to be the first episode, and then just to see it blow up to what it is now is just super dope.
Yeah, listening to that first episode, I was a little jealous because
why is that?
His first episode sounded so good. Like he was a natural at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the sound quality was great.
Yeah.
Then you listen to my first episode.
Nah.
Not so great.
hey, comparison is the thief of joy, my friend.
Right, yeah, I know.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You are your own worst judge, as the saying goes.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But to back it up for anyone listening that doesn't know who you are, had heard your music before, this quick introduction about yourself.
Yeah, man, I'm Miles Blvd. I'm an Eau Claire native. I've been out here for a long time, man. A long time. Almost. Let's see. I've been rapping for about 10 years now. Really taking it serious for about 10 years since I was 16, and man, I just put out a new album last week. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, it's a mixtape technically. It's a mixtape. But man, I just been doing my thing, man. Just trying to make something dope for the community to be proud of, and something that me and the homies can be proud of. And yeah, that's the mission.
I know I missed it a little too late, but you just did a show not too long ago with, I'm going to butcher it, TYB?
Yep, TYB. That's my man. Yeah, nice. Yep. Yeah, that's my big brother right there. Yeah, we got a whole album coming together, honestly. Yeah. This summer we're going to be dropping a collab album, and I feel like he's okay with me saying that. We've already kind of let the cat out the bag a little bit. We haven't put out anything for it yet, but man, that shit is fire. That shit's fire.
Yeah, Dylan told me about that. Your friend, my coworker, and
shout out Dill. Shout out Dill Dowd. Hopefully you're watching, baby. You should be here right now.
But he goes, yeah, there's a show tonight, and I think that was Dad to go out of town for that weekend. And of course, I'm like, God damn it.
Right, of course.
But
of course, yeah, no, I was talking to Dill. I just said the most like Wisconsin thing, like, oh yeah, no. No, I was talking to Dill the other day, and a couple weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, I got my coworker just moved into town. He's a really cool dude. I think you'd really like him. And he said that he was starting up a podcast and had talked to Chris and had heard the episode. He's like, hey, do you know this guy named Miles Blvd? And then Dill's like, yeah, you mean fucking my homie? Yeah, I know who Miles is. Yeah, of course I know. And so, yeah, that's cool that he hooked us up. It's a nice bridge between us.
Absolutely. But to back it up, you're from Eau Claire. So
Well, okay, so I was born in Marinette,
okay.
but I moved here when I was 5, and I've been here since I was 5. So
Pretty much a native at that point.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I grew up in Fall Creek, which is like a, if you know where Fall Creek is, it's like a suburb of Eau Claire. It's like 10 minutes out, and just we'd be in Eau Claire every day. I've lived here for like 8 years now. Yeah, and so. Eau Claire native, baby. Let's go. I'm putting on for the city. Let's go.
Yeah, like we're technically in Altoona right now. But
yeah, technically, yeah.
People, where do you move to? I'm like, Altoona. Like, where's that?
It's Eau Claire.
It's Eau Claire.
That's the same thing with Fall Creek. It's like no one knows. You could spit across Fall Creek. No one knows where that shit is.
Right. So how do you, growing up here in the area, how do you get involved in music, and how did that evolve into where you're at now?
That's a good question. Is like, I'll tell you the backstory now. I'm gonna toot my horn a little bit. Is I've always been singing ever since I was little. Like I was in every choir I could be since I was like in 5th grade, and just always drawn to music. Even when I was a kid, even before I even knew it, like music had just had this grip on me. Like if there was something playing, I had to be right next to the speaker, or I had to be right next to the performer. And so I was just always singing, always drawn to music, and also I would just love to write poetry. I alluded to you earlier. I was just like, it was a cool way to pick up girls back in the day, like middle school and high school. It was like, oh, let me just write you a poem real quick. And it was like, I don't know, it felt very natural that I kind of had this epiphany when I was 18. I was working on music a little bit with my friends. We were fucking around a little bit, but it wasn't serious until I was 18, and I was at a show. I was watching Mac Miller perform, actually, and I just kind of had this epiphany. It's like, dude, I've been working on this for a couple of years. I've got a good voice. I got a nice pen game. I knew it wasn't good at the time. It was garbage at the time. But I had that maybe arrogance or confidence in myself. It was like, no, this is great. But no, I had that epiphany, and the rest is history, man. I was like, what really did it for me was we were at a festival. So I saw like 35,000 people there that year. But just to see all of these people, every walk of life, in unison, singing the same lyrics, and we're all here because we love rap music. It wasn't even just music; it's rap music. Mm-hmm. And so, man, when I had that epiphany, I watched Mac on stage. I was like, you know what, man? I've been working at this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be that guy that brings all these people together to celebrate this beautiful thing that we all love, and that's hip hop. The culture of hip hop. And I knew it wasn't gonna be then that I did that. I knew it was gonna be a long road. I knew I had practice my ass off, but I know one day that I was gonna do that shit, and we're finally to the point where, man, my shit's nice. I'm nice out here, bro. Fuck with me, like, yeah.
Does it feel? I mean, have you had that pinch me moment where, like, am I actually doing this? This is real life.
I've had a couple of moments where, it was pretty surreal. I think the first time I paid rent off of music was like. I got pretty emotional about that, and like being able to get like go to new places, have everything paid for, meeting new people, and still like, man, it's just there's been a couple of times where it's just pretty surreal, and it's just the beginning too. Mm-hmm. I'm sure when things progress even more, it's just gonna be just a dream come true, Been working for it for a long time.
To roll things back again, you said you're involved in choir from an early age.
Yeah.
Did you get into rap music right away, or did it start with other stuff too?
That's what I was going to say earlier when I was like, I'm going to toot my horn a little bit. Nobody that I was chilling with fucked with rap music. Like, rap music in Fall Creek was just not heard of. And so I was definitely the outlier. Like, ask any of the homies. They're going to say no. But I brought hip-hop to Fall Creek, all right? I did. And, no, I think what drew me in about hip-hop was the drums. It's because it's very like rhythmic, right? And so that just caught my ear, and I think I liked it because I wasn't supposed to be listening to it. Like I did not grow up in a rap friendly household,
right?
And it was just me and my mom, and she did not get it, and that's cool. But I had heard like people like Biggie Smalls or Tupac or Eazy-E, NWA and whatnot, and I was just in a trance. I was like, what is this? This is a whole world that I know nothing about. This is amazing, but it's so cool. And so that from that point, I just started educating myself and becoming a student of the culture. You know, it's like it's much bigger than rap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hip hop. A lot of people use the terms hip hop and rap interchangeably, but they're not. They're not the same. Hip hop is the culture, right? And rap is an extension of hip hop.
Sure.
Hip hop's derived of 4 main pillars, and that's MCing, so rapping, DJing, scratching, breakdancing, b-boying, and graffiti tags. And that's like the essence. That's what hip hop is in its essence. And so I just, fell in love with the rap, you know, pillar of that and just took off with it. I'm obsessed. Always have been.
See, I've seen hip hop thrown into the same vein as pop culture. But pop culture, I mean, that ebbs and flows and changes.
I would say hip hop is pop culture right now.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you go back 50 years ago, pop culture was the Beatles. Well,
Absolutely.
70 years ago, I suppose now. Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it changes, you know?
Yeah.
I guess it's technically whatever is popular at the time.
Yeah.
That's pop music. And so hip hop is the most selling art form now. It has been for the last couple of years. And so it's very, like, hip hop does, even before it was considered like the highest selling genre, I would say that it set the trend of like fashion and slang and, you know, just like overall aesthetics of our culture. But now it's just like you can't escape it. Like hip hop is everywhere. Like just like look at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, like that. What an amazing performance and what a great win for hip hop.
Yeah. Arguably one of the best performances
ever.
I've seen.
Yeah, ever. Of our generation for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, how old are you? I forgot to ask.
33.
You're 33. Okay, I'm 26. So yeah, it's like, dude, like to see Dre and Snoop and M and Kendrick and Mary, just like all of them just going in, like that was really special.
Though to see my mom, who's hopefully she's not listening. I think she's 70 something.
Whoa, you just put her on blast. Whoa.
But all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, look, it's Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre." I'm like, "How did you know?" What?
But that's so sick. That's so sick. Mom sounds cool as hell.
Yeah, and for being a band teacher, that so I grew up
Nice.
around music my whole life.
Oh, very cool.
2 parents are band directors, and
Very cool.
So I started off in classical, and then one day in middle school, I go, "I want a Metallica CD." I think half their hair went gray right there on the spot.
Yeah, dude.
And then, I know. So when did hip hop and rap really as a whole, when did that start to gain traction? I know nothing about it. I discovered it when I was in high school. Yeah. Like so many other people, the MTV when they still had music.
Yeah,
and they
I'd
did
say
the
like,
world premiere of, I think it was Eminem's song, one of his songs.
Okay.
Back in the day. Yeah, it might have been My Name Is.
Oh, for sure.
Is either the world premiere of the music video or the MTV Awards, either one. But
yeah. No, I'd say it really, as a culture, it really got its traction in the early 80s. People like Run DMC really brought it to a whole other level. I mean, there has been rappers before that in the late 70s. I think it started like Kool Herc when he threw his block party. That was, I think, like 79 or something like that. But it was late 70s, and then the early 80s is when it really started to pop off. And you had or maybe late 80s. Late 80s, I'd say. With your Beastie Boys and LL Cool J and Run DMC, like when those names started popping up, then it really started to get traction. And then, by the time the 90s hit, it was game over. Like, there was a whole new wave. So, I'd say mid to late 80s would be when rap really started to take a hold on pop culture.
I should backtrack. I think everybody in Wisconsin knows House of Pain, Jump Around.
Oh, yeah, it's a national anthem here,
Yeah. So what artists were you listening to growing up and what are you listening to now that inspired you and continue to inspire you on what you're working on?
That's such a big question. Because I love all kinds of music, people like Mac Miller was a huge influence. NWA was a huge influence. Biggie, Outkast, Cameron. Those are kind of like older names. A$AP Rocky's a current name that I really, really admire and draw from a lot. Kendrick growing up was great. I mean, he's still great. He's arguably the best of all time. It's such a hard question. I don't know, but there's so many. I mean, that's just rap music, Yeah. There's so many other genres too that have influenced.
If you're listening to other genres, do you listen to everybody knows Metallica, for example, something like that's way outside of the realm of rap, but you listen to that and you go, oh, that spins up, into something that you want to put out.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think more so, maybe not sonically, but like songwriting. I've always really admired rock music for songwriting. Like Pink Floyd is just like, they're such good songwriters. Like, taking away the moments that make up a dull day. It's like, fuck, I resonate with that so hard. Like, man, they're great. Led Zeppelin's great. I love like 50s music, as like 40s and 50s doo-wop and swing and stuff, and I love 60s and 70s rock music. It's kind of more psychedelic, kind of a little bit more easy listening than the 80s rock, got to be. But I love all that shit, man. I love really trippy stuff, and like someone I've really been listening to a lot lately is like not like very hardcore or anything, but the Electric Light Orchestra. Yeah. ELO, bro, their shit is so good. It's so layered, and there's just so much going on all the time, and it's just like that to me is just like prime music, and it's fun to get fucked up to as well.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine. He's the one that got me into kind of the ELO and the Alan Parsons projects, the Pink Floyd era of style of music. Yeah, because I mentioned, came home one day and I wanted a Metallica CD, and just went head first down into the heavy metal, and stumbled my way through, and now death metal is huge for me. Speaking of rock and they're more metalcore. For Fear Itself, buddies of mine, they've been on the show.
Very cool.
But he just kept driving home these classic rock bands and stuff until finally, of course, everybody listens to Dark Side of the Moon, album by Pink Floyd. Yeah, didn't really resonate with me at the time, but all of a sudden he played metal by them, and just went hard in the paint on that one.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But it feels like it's more common or even accepted now that artists will leave their little window that the industry has put them in, or their little space. Yeah. Well, was it NWA and Anthrax back in the 80s or 90s?
It was Public Enemy and Anthrax.
Public Enemy.
Yeah.
They're kind of the first to do that.
Yeah.
And now even top 40.
You had Run DMC and Aerosmith do it too with Walk This Way. That was huge.
But now it seemed like for a while, and maybe it's still happening, I don't know, in the top 40 radio stations at least, artists that are being played there are expected to be in this one lane.
Yeah.
Do you see that more now? I mean, you being an independent artist, is it more acceptable?
Absolutely. I feel like, okay, so here's the thing. First of all, I have two things to say. First, I'm going to go back, and I want to say that I don't want to misquote this because it's very important, but I feel like Kool Herc's party was like 83. I said 97 or 79 before. I think it was 83. Anyway, we were drinking a little bit. But no, especially right now with what we were talking about hip-hop being kind of like the sound of the now, I find that a lot of other genres are taking from it, like country or pop music. Pop was a little bit more like, it's closely related, I guess, in sound, but like rock and country music now is starting to blend with hip hop. Like the beats are starting to become, like trap beats essentially with country lyrics over top of it. I'm an interesting person to talk to about that because I'm very much of like, man, fucking don't fuck with rap. Like, leave it alone. Like, this is a very sacred thing. This is a very beautiful thing. Like, if you don't know of the culture, if you don't respect it, if you don't come from it, don't fucking use it. But then, who am I to say that? Right. I'm a guest in this shit. So, like, who am I to say who can and can't use music? I just love rap music, and I don't, in its purest form, Like, so, to that point, I'm not going to venture out of that. You can put me in that box. You can call me a rapper that I love that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always going to keep it very hip hop. Always. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to venture into other sounds. Like, I might, no, I won't even, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not going to, like, I fucking love rap music, and that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Is I think what you're saying is like, the sound is changing. It's becoming a little bit more general. I think a lot of people can like go in and out of different sounds. I don't have any interest in that. I just want to keep it hip hop, keep it rap at its purest. And I think anyone who's heard my stuff or has seen me perform would definitely agree with that. It's like I keep it rap,
No, what if someone, I don't know, Corey Taylor, Slipknot, Stone Sour,
Yeah.
came to you and said, "Hey," because I mean, Knotfest a couple times at least. Tech Nine's been on
True.
the ticket.
Yeah, Tech.
So
Tech
he
is a
calls
good
you and
bridge.
says that, "Hey, I want you to come do a song with us, and I want you to perform at Knotfest." I mean, would you turn that down, or do you like? It's not really my, it's not rap, so no
Right.
thanks.
I feel like, oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, if I was performing my stuff, hell yeah, dude, hell yeah. Like, of course I would take that opportunity for that platform. Of course I would. Would I want to jump on a song that's like heavy? Like their shit is probably not. That's just not the type of music I want to make.
Yeah.
I respect it, and would love to indulge in that in its time, but that's not the music I'm trying to make. And I think it's very important to just stay true to self and not trying to go outside of yourself to get listeners or get views or get streams. Like I don't give a shit about that shit. To me, it's about the art and what are you contributing. And I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine today about just like he was he's into graphic design, and he was just talking about getting hired for somewhere and making something that he thought that they would want versus what he wants to make. And I was like, dude, it always comes down to authenticity. It always comes down to being genuine, and no one likes to feel like they're being sold something. You know what I'm saying? So when someone gets up on stage and they're true to themselves and they transcend their spirit, you can feel that. You can resonate with that. You can, even if you don't like it, you can feel it. But if someone gets on stage and they're not genuine about their craft, or they're not genuine about what they're doing or what they're talking about, you can also feel that. And so I'd rather be the guy who stays true to self and maybe doesn't get as much streams or publicity or opportunities versus, someone who does anything and everything to get the attention of anyone and isn't happy, And that's kind of always the approach I took from it, is just keep it real, bro. Keep it real out here. We making hits.
So, I mean, if tomorrow, or we'll say next week, internet goes away.
Yes.
The flip is switched off.
We could only be so lucky.
Right. I mean, do you keep on making your music and putting the art out there whatever way you can?
Hey, man, I just wrote a lyric the other day that said, you know what, I'd still go win if it meant that you never knew my name, because I'm not pursuing fame. But how could I tell my kids to dream in the future if I don't do the same? Or how to take pride in their efforts regardless if it's rewarded. The biggest difference between us, my mistakes are recorded. Just took an eighth of shrooms, and now my vision distorted. If love's a currency, my pockets extorted. We still supported. Like, it's not about the fame, bro. It's about loving what you do. And so I'd still go in if it meant that you never knew my name, because that's what I have to. I have to do it. Like, I'm the fucking best out here. I gotta get that shit out. All right.
So how do you, I mean, pre-internet, of course, the way to get out there was go and get signed by one of the big, 3, 4 label records out there. Now you have the internet, you have SoundCloud, Spotify, Pandora, everything.
Yeah, everything.
Do you feel like it's easier than it was, say, even 20 years ago or 10 years ago?
To get noticed?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's pros and cons. So it's like, it's really, like, the accessibility is really nice. The convenience is really nice. Like, someone like myself doesn't have to, go to a studio and book, hundreds and hundreds of hours of studio time, or a dollar's worth of studio time, when I could just have my own setup in my house. That makes it really easy. But on the flip side of that, then I feel like it's oversaturated the market a lot, is because now everyone can do it. And I feel like everyone loves rap and wants to be a rapper. And so it's kind of oversaturated it a little bit. And labels are now recognizing that artists don't need them to pop off. A shimmering example is Chance the Rapper, who did not sign and just took over the rap game. I feel like he's kind of an outlier a little bit, but like, he's a good example of, you don't need that shit. And so now I feel like back in the day, labels would find an artist and then kind of build them up, build their brand, and like, invest in them. Now it's like, okay, well, we're going to meet you where you are, because it's an independent market now. So we don't have time to invest in you as an artist. You got to have, X amount of followers for us to even give a fuck about you. If you don't have that many followers, we're not even going to listen. It's not worth our time. And so I feel like there's pros and cons to it, because like, someone like myself, I'm not naturally apt to just jump online and, look at me type shit. I don't like that. I'm really private, keep to myself, and I don't like the song and dance of the whole thing, but like, that's what gets legitimacy to to people, the higher ups. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do it the other way and just do it all like that and say fuck the labels. But then there's a lot of perks that come with that too. So it's just like I think it's the best time right now for getting your music out, because it is that conflict between independent and labels, and so it's just like who's gonna outdo each other, what can the other do for each other, and it's just it is the best time. It's just how you want to go about it.
So where and how did you start? And how does say Blind Ninja Studios? We just started a band. So how do we get out there? Where should we start, or somebody listening?
I mean, social media is easily the easiest platform, because it's a megaphone on your phone, just blasting it out to people. I mean, it's like I said, it's the most convenient way. Before you're able to get on radio or get on podcasts or anything like that, get on TV, it's just like you got to get out some way. And people aren't reading the papers anymore. People aren't doing this and that. Especially during the pandemic, people aren't going to live shows as much, and that's sucked. But that was a good way of exposure too. It was just word of mouth, but shows have been so few and far between. And even if we do have shows, it's not the same turnout, And so, yeah, social media is definitely the way to go for that. So, yeah.
As far as the equipment side, I mean, do you need the fancy recording studio, or can you just start plugging away into your phone? And
I mean, I don't use my phone. I definitely use my laptop. But you don't need a huge, luxurious studio to make something dope. I told you before, I got that project coming out with TYB.
Mm-hmm.
I did, I think, half of those vocals, if not more, at my place. Just on my microphone, my home setup, and it's just easy. Like, I got a nice mic, a little interface, and call it good, man. And it sounds great. So, yeah, that is super nice that you don't need this whole elaborate thing. You could just do it yourself.
And I mean, since you started, I mean, has your style, well, I guess, having a little bit of expertise. I mean, you said you started doing this when you were 18, what, 8 years now?
Yeah, but yeah, I started messing around writing when I was like rapping when I was 16, but then I didn't take it like really professionally, like serious until I was 18. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's gotten easier then for you from then to now, or
just the like writing and
the writing and then the actual recording, whether it's
yeah.
technique or confidence, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think because the beginning part of that was just very much like learning my voice and learning the styles that I wanted to do. Because when I first started rapping, I wanted to be Dr. Dre so bad. I would rap with my voice really deep and like try to use the same inflections that he would. And so it took time. It took time to like get comfortable in myself and be confidence the biggest thing, and believing in what you're saying, believing in your tone. And so, yeah, it took me a long time to really get to a point, like, because I'm a perfectionist, so I wasn't going to put anything out that I didn't think that was good, and so, but I knew I wasn't good at the time, but I would be good. And so there was just a huge learning curve, and I'd say like when I was like 19 to 21 was when I really just paid my dues and, just learned myself as an artist. Excuse me. And, yeah, the progression has just been so consistent, like ever since I started. Even now, I feel like there's so much room for growth, but I've never been this sharp before, So, yeah, in the beginning there was some learning curves, but man, now I'll go bar for bar with anyone. Like, put me in the studio with anyone, I'll hold it down.
So, I mean, overall, when did you start to realize that you could make a career out of this? Like, you personally, not the industry as a whole.
Right.
When did it feel? You mentioned that when you first paid rent from music.
Yeah.
Was that the moment, or did you?
Yeah, that was the moment. Yep. Yeah, I'll try to talk about it without getting emotional, but yeah, when I held that was my first headlining show. It was for a project I dropped back in 2020 called Update from Isolation, and we threw the release party from that, and that was my first time handpicking the whole show, which artists are gonna be on, and where the venue is, and this and that, and it was at the Plus here in Eau Claire. Shout out Benny and Kate. And what a great show, dude. Seriously, like, amazing turnout. I'm talking hundreds of people. and the crowd that we bring out is just so loving and so caring. They're just good people. And I had the promoter from the Plus be like, yo, we talked about it as a staff, and that was the best hip hop show that we've ever had, that Eau Claire's ever had. You know, like that was nuts. And so to be able to have that impact on the town, to provide this environment that everyone had such a great time, all the performers made hella money, you know, and to hold that money in my hand, it's like, damn, I did this. You know, I brought all this together and I made this money. And yeah, I remember just like, you know, kind of breaking down a little bit to my best friend. It's like, bro, this is it. Like, this is the taste that I needed. You know, like after this, it's like, we just only go up from here, you know? So that was definitely the moment where I was like, shit, dude, I can do this.
Leading up to that point, did you ever feel like this isn't going to work? I should throw in the towel, go get the 9-to-5 gig?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Not in a way that I was like ever going to do it. I think everyone kind of has that, you know, along their paths of like, fuck, do it. Is this what I want? Is this worth it? You know, like the times where I'd show up to a show. That was the one I just told you about was my actual first headlining show. Well, real one. My first one, nobody showed up to. It was so embarrassing, dude. Not even the promoter for the show showed up. I won't name drop, but it was fucking whack. It was super whack. And it was moments like that where it's just, you know, my mom in the crowd, you know, which is awesome. But it was moments like that. It's like, holy shit, no one cares, you know. It's moments like that, or, you know, everyone has that. And so for sure, I got down on myself. And even still, it's like, man, there's so much bullshit you got to jump through, and, you know, politics, and I don't know. There's a lot you got to weed through. But it's moments like that where it's like, oh, no, I'm supposed to be doing this. You know, this is what I'm meant to do. And just, you know, the people that I've connected with, the impact that me and my friends have had out here is just, there's no way this is not what we're supposed to do. You know, if this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, I have no fucking idea what it would be, you know? And so.
Wait, is there a manual out there on
no.
how to become a rapper, how to start a band for dummies, or forums or anything like that?
No, hell no, because everyone's different. And I feel like art in itself is just subjective, you know? So everyone's journey is going to be different. Everyone's going to interpret art differently. So, you know, you and I could do it, like make the same song, and it would be perceived differently. So it's hard to like tell other artists how to do their thing, you know, because what works for some people might not work for other people, you know.
Like, I don't want to throw any artists under the boat, but I know there's been a cover that was made a few years ago of Linkin Park.
Oh yeah.
And that artist has been getting dragged through broken glass over the quality of his work, and
that's a ballsy move, because if you're gonna do that shit right after Chester passed too, like that's, first of all, don't touch that shit. But second of all, if you're gonna do it, you gotta pay it respect, pay it its dues, and that sucks. That sucks if that's the case.
But, you know, you said your mom came to that show. Sounds like she changed her tune on rap.
Oh yeah, mom's the best, dude. Mom's my biggest supporter now. Yeah, no, I think just because she didn't grow up with rap music and she wasn't familiar with it, that it was very alien to her. But it was about when I was like around 20 or 21, where we were starting to like go out, and she could see like when we go out to eat, and people would be like, "Oh shit," and she'd be like, "Oh, like this, I'm actually doing something out here." You know, it's not like I'm just fucking around in my friend's basement or something. Yeah. We actually are impacting the community that we're from. And so I think my mom, you know, like when she first saw me in the newspapers or first heard about me through other people besides just me, she was like, "Oh shit, this is real," you know? And man, mom is never said that she wasn't supportive. She was always supportive. She just didn't get it at first. You know what I'm saying? And
when are you going to stop your hobby, go get a job?
Yeah. And my dad said the same thing too. It's like, when is this phase going to be done? I'm like, sorry to break it to you. But no, mom is just the best, dude. She's front and center every show she can be. Super supportive. Always. I feel like she promotes my shit more than I do. You know, like she's so proud, and you know, I've actually had her come up on stage before at shows, and we just have fun with it, man. It's all about having fun, and it's just a blessing to be able to do what we do with the people that we get to do it with. You know, I tell that to the homies all the time. Is, you know, well, they're all family. That's why I'm correlating this. It's all family. Is man, like, people come to our shows to see us, and we all get to hang out together. And we got our best friends, we got mom, we got our partners, we got, you know, we got girls or homies or anyone just chilling with us, man. It's so fun. It's so fucking fun, and not a lot of people, very little people get to experience what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
To get to do what you love to do, get paid for it with your best friends. Like, that's the dream. That's literally the dream. And we get to fucking do that shit all the time. And it's just, I never take it for granted. I will never, ever take that shit for granted, dude. Like, that is so special. And I know it's, you know, it's not going to last forever. So I just really appreciate the times that we're in. You know, I'm young, good looking. We just out here with our best friends, making the most of it, man. It's just, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, that's the well, I wouldn't call it drawback. I mean, I was a professional wallflower most of my life.
Yeah.
At some point, I don't know
phrase.
when or how I stopped caring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went from, in high school, I could probably count on one hand how many words I said.
Sure.
Now I'm in sales, and
Yeah.
I do a podcast. I have to hear my own voice for 40 to 60 hours a week.
Right.
But you don't see that involvement outside of social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody comments or likes a post, that's cool. If somebody's in the chat room, it's like, holy shit, people are actually listening to this. And
Yeah.
I remember one time we were seeing a show over in St. Paul,
Okay.
and I had a shameless promotion constantly. 90% of my shirts have my logo on it.
I love it.
But somebody came up to me like, "Oh, you listen to that show?" I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah,
I'm like, why? Like, "Oh, I listen all the time. It's great." Like, cool. I host it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, dude, that's the best. That's the best.
Like, why do you listen to this? You know, there's other ones out there.
No, that's fun though, because then you can kind of like pick their brains. Like, why do you like it? You know, that's super cool.
Yeah, and for a while I was talking to Chris about it too. You know, I watched the numbers. I was constantly, you know, reaching out to my producer and like, hey, how many downloads did we get like the day after an episode released? I remember the first episode, 50 people listened to it in the first, I think, week or something like that. And like, that's 49 more people than I expected to.
Yeah, it's dope.
Sweet. It's going somewhere.
Yeah.
But then it just became almost addictive, you know, to
like
watch that. Yeah. And constantly watching, you know, what's the engagement like on Facebook and Instagram, blah, blah, blah. Started to become a job. And then COVID shut that down. I mean, we shut the studio down for 4 or 5 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was nice because it gave me a chance to step back and ask myself, why am I still doing this?
Yeah.
If it's driving me nuts,
Absolutely.
It's becoming a job. But came out on the other side, like, you know, started to get that itch again. Like, I wanted to start talking to people, start recording again. For you, being a performer, you know, COVID shut that down like that.
Yeah, real quick.
I mean, how'd that affect you, not just career-wise with music, but, you know, personally and mentally for that matter?
It's a good question. I was in a really depressed place when I made Update from Isolation, and that came out January, I believe, 19th of 2020, and the shutdown happened March 17th. It was St. Patty's Day. And I was already in a really, like, reclusive place. I was already not going out and seeing people and, like, really isolating myself, and that's what the whole project is about loneliness, is because I was depressed, but I was more lonely than anything. And that didn't have, I mean, it was in a romantic sense. I had just come off of a breakup like the year before that of someone who I cared really deeply for. And so I was in that sense lonely, but also like I was just going out and just not feeling like I was connecting with anyone. You know, like not feeling like anyone spoke my language or really understood me or appreciated what I was trying to do, or vice versa. Like I feel like I wasn't connecting with other people too. And I just felt really discouraged. And so I was just like, I'm going to hunker down and make this album. And then, you know, the fucking world ended. And they were like, go back to our houses. Don't do anything. And I was like, all right, cool. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking love that. Let's just do nothing. That sounds fantastic. Because I wasn't in a place where I wanted to perform or be seen or be center stage or be celebrated or take the attention. You know, that's one thing about me is like, I don't like, though I've been told I have a big presence, I don't like to make it about me. You know what I'm saying? And so I was cool about like, all right, let's just like fall back a little bit. You know, let's just focus on music, not worry about being in the public. So I actually like, I mean, aside from the pandemic, just being away from performing, away from people was really good for me at the time because it really allowed me to appreciate that for when it was time to start doing that again and feeling, like you said, getting that passion back and getting that fire under you, like, all right, baby, let's fucking get it, you know? And so we've done a couple of shows, we being me, TY, and the homie West Korea, because we pretty much do all of our shows together. We practice together. we're not a group, but damn near, you know. And so, yeah, no, it was very fitting for me as a person when it happened. I was like, all right, cool, I'm down with this. But now I'm itching to get back out there for sure. It's been too long now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the industry. And I was talking to a rapper out of Minneapolis, St. Paul area, Pharaoh Moose. Shout out, he's come back on the show in March. Excited to talk to him again. He took 2020, to leave his job and focus 100% on music. And we're talking, it's like the industry got a big reset button for everybody starting at square one.
Yeah.
So from here, where do you go with that? I mean, how do you reach out and try to find an agent to get you booking, or do you just start going, put feet to the pavement, DIY, promote your shows and get out there?
To be honest, like right now, I'm not really focused on shows. I am so deeply entrenched in the creative mindset right now that like I just want to create and record right now. It's not really so much focused on the shows, although we got a couple of shows booked for the summer and I'm really excited about that. Doing the festival out in Nebraska, doing a show near Madison. But
Nebraska is another area. You say Nebraska, I don't think rap.
no, and that's the thing is like they have a really good art scene in Lincoln. And we went out there for a festival last year, and what a beautiful place, man. Never in my life did I think that Lincoln, Nebraska was like a destination place for me.
Right.
But it's just so, everyone there is so nice and so welcoming, and they treated us so well. Yeah, I guess it just, we made our mark last time we were there and got invited back. And so that was sick. What was the question you had? Oh, where I'm going to take it now?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm going to, can I yell? Because I'm going to yell.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm going hard as shit this year when it comes to recording, because I reached this place mentally where I was, I'm 26. And for people older than me listening, that might sound really young, but to me, there's like a really deep sense of urgency. It's like, dude, I'm still 26. I feel like I haven't really gone where I want to go or could go. And the only person that's holding me back is me. And so we got to go hard. We got to give reason for people to want to come to shows, to want to buy things, to want to believe in what we're doing out here. And so what do I have to offer? The art. And so I'm just going hard, dude. Like I just put out a new mixtape last week called Language That I'm Deeply Ashamed Of and Will Regret Forever. I'm working on my next project. I have one project almost done, one song away from being finished. I got another project that's halfway done being finished. Like, I just plan on just keeping the fucking foot on the pedal this whole year and outworking everyone, honestly. Is like, I have the pen to do it. I have the mind and the creative juices right now. A lot has been happening in my life lately that, like, on a personal level, that has just showed me how fragile all this is and how important it is. And so I just want to make the most of my time here, man, before I'm gone or before I'm fucking old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know which one's going to happen. Hopefully I get old before I'm gone, but I think about legacy all the time, and I think about the responsibility that I have in the community, and just making something that people are proud of. And I know I can do it. So it's just like, I'm just gonna be that dude. Get out of my fucking way this year. Like, I'm gunning, and so I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be in a more positive state of mind. I think with this last record I just put out, I was very like dark. Is your adolescence. You're disillusioned to the world when you get out of high school, and this last record was just what that felt like. And so now that I'm past that, I'm in a great state of mind. I've accepted a lot of things. I've accepted who I am and what my role is out here. And, we all have their shit that we're working on, and I'm doing that like everyone else, but we're going to do it through art. We're going to make it happen in a productive way and hopefully in an inspiring way to, just fuck. I don't know. It's just, I'm so excited, bro. It's going to be such a great year. I have so many plans. I don't want to like show all my hand, but I've got a lot of music on deck that's going to come out this year.
So to keep yourself on track, do you set yourself dates and goals? And by, let's say June 1, right, because I made that mistake, announced live just kind of off the fly. We're also that's kind of deep in the bag at the studio. Like we did like 4 shows in one day. Of course, like I was mentioned off air, there's homebrew on tap.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, I said, yeah, I'm going to have the website up by June 1st. And then, of course, go home, wake up the next day like, oh, shit, I'm going to have a website up in a month.
Yeah, for sure, dude. No, I've learned that giving yourself a public timeline is not the best if you're not done.
Yeah.
That's why with this project, I just like dropped it. I didn't say anything about it. I just dropped it. No, I think I more so give myself concepts to work with and like a general frame of like when I want it to be out. Just because I feel like maybe adding deadlines creates a little pressure and sometimes can deter creativity that way. But no, I kind of have like a general idea, and then once it comes to like fully formed or almost there, then I'll be like, okay, let's put it out this day, so I don't have to like really pressure myself to get stuff out. And yeah, not a big deadline guy, but I also thrive under pressure, so it's weird. I don't know. It's weird. Depends on the deadline. But yeah.
So, and with those, I mean, being on track, I mean, if you feel yourself slipping off track, or even like you're saying before, you weren't in the greatest headspace, right. I mean, how do you pull yourself back out of that, get back going where you need to be? Man,
I think it's just finding inspiration wherever you can, whether it's the people around you. For me, it's music. It's hard to say because that's a very personal thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you want to give advice to people when they're struggling or not feeling well, but man, that is such an internal battle, and it's such a personal thing that it really just comes down to you, and thankfully, I don't know, because there was a time where I didn't think I was going to pull myself out of it, I didn't think there was going to be a time where I would be here right now, straight up. And so it just takes time. It takes, I don't know, man, just gratitude. I think that's the biggest thing, is gratitude. It's easy to be a victim about circumstances. It's easy to woe is me about everything. But man, when you take a step back and you really appreciate the people you have around you, the house that you have, the job that you have, the car that you have, the this, the that, and then not in a materialistic way, but just like, man, how lucky are we? Truly, how lucky am I? And I think that's what helped me out of my rut, is like, how lucky am I that, like, going back to what I was saying earlier, is like, I get to do what I love with my best friends in a place that loves and respects me. Like, Eau Claire fucks with me, and I'm so grateful for that, because I fuck with them. There's something so special about having the place that you're from not only hold you up, but celebrate you. And man, when I sit back and think about that, how could you not get fired up? You know what I'm saying? How could you not get a fire under your ass? Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, let's fucking hit the studio. Like, what are we even mad about? What are we talking about? It's like, we have such a great opportunity here. But that's just not my life. It's everyone's life. Is like the people we have around us, the opportunity. Like something like this is what you're doing. Is just like, not everyone gets to do this. And that's so special that you get to do this, that we get to do this. And man, when gratitude enters the chat, the whole perspective changes, and so gratitude's the attitude, baby. Always.
Which speaking of the city, and I mean the community around here, just with everything, is so cool. I mean, listening to Chris's podcast and hearing this different ways, and over on Barstow Street. Yeah. And I thoroughly enjoy hearing him rip on Water Street.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took me way too long. I probably listened to the song 4 or 5 times. Eau Claire.
Yeah, dude.
To realize that you're talking about the city and not a girl. This is the way the title is. O-H, Claire.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. That was the whole point. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember which line it was. Something about the blue skies or something in there, maybe. I've been listening to your stuff for the last few months.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it all of a sudden clicked, and it's like, oh shit, he's talking about the city. That makes sense. He's from the damn city.
Yep, absolutely, man. It's an ode to the city. But I'm glad you caught that, because that was when I was going through that breakup. So I wanted it. Her name's not Claire, but it's about the city. So Claire. But I did want to mask it as, like, at first you think I was talking about a girl, and then when you listen, it's like, oh shit, like you said, it's like, oh no, that's not. It's kind of very similar to Homecoming by Kanye West, because he does the same thing. It's like, you think he's talking about this girl named Wendy, but he's talking about the windy city of Chicago, and so it's a cool little thing he does. So I drew from that, of Eau Claire, because I was at the time I was gonna move. I was kind of like over the scene, and I just had this breakup, so I didn't want to be around her in the town, and so I was like, oh, Claire, just so over you, oh, Claire, but then I grew to really deeply appreciate what we have here. So then it was like, man, there's nothing that compares to Eau Claire. Like getting able to get on the road, travel around a little bit, tap into different places. Like Eau Claire is really special. Like it has an energy here. I was just talking about that with a friend of mine the other night. It's like, I don't know what the energy is yet. Like it's kind of weird. Like the art scene is so vibrant and there's so much talent here, but I feel like it's not cultivated the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that I'm really trying to be on the forefront of, is like really put on for the cities, because we need something to showcase all this talent. We don't have a venue. We don't have regular national acts coming through. If they are, it's at the Pablo, but the Pablo's not really booking local music to be with them. So what are we doing to bring a national attention? You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Me and TY, me and Wes, we're gonna do this shit. And yeah. I don't want to give away too much, because we have some plans, but just
we'll
how to
talk
bring
off
that.
here.
Yeah.
No, it does seem to be that drive-through city. Now, both my parents graduated from UWC, so
Cool.
I've been here, since I was knee-high to a grasshopper.
Yeah.
And, I always saw just the university, and I thought that's Eau Claire.
Right.
And then moving here and living here only for a few months, though, seeing how much more, and seeing how it's changed over the years.
Absolutely.
What else there is to offer. I mean, the food scene and the music.
Great.
Of course, Jazz Fest. I mean, that's huge.
It's great. Dude,
It's fun. Especially being, I like living up north, but I like the peace and quiet, but at the same time, it's nice to be back by civilization again and have those options.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Eau Claire's nice for that too, because like you don't have to live in the city. It's kind of like a nice mix of rural and urban. But no, you're right. The progression of the city in the last couple of years has been fantastic. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I attribute like Justin Vernon really putting this place on the map, dude. Like with Bon Iver, man, the publicity that had come from the Eau Claire Fest, and everything that he's done with the Oxbow and the revamp of the Lismore, and really revitalized. I mean, it's not just him; there's a whole team, but I feel like he's the one who really brought the national attention. I remember I was working at Menards, and I was just on break one day, and I was flipping through a magazine. It was a Time magazine, and then there was an article about Eau Claire in there, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? That's so sick! That's so sick!" And it was because of Vernon. It was because of the Eau Claire's Fest, and I feel like ever since that started coming up, man, the national attention has just skyrocketed, and so because of that, we've been able to just develop the city, and it's so sick, dude. It's awesome to see the development that's been going on, and yeah, it's just such a special place, and
it's cool to see how the community celebrates each other. Like Volume 1, is it?
Yeah,
the best of.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw you and TYB were in there.
Yep,
and Chris was on there for best podcast in the area. He's got some competition now.
And,
I'm shooting for number 2.
You got it, bro. You got it. You got to fight him and my homie Shang. Me and CY took second and third, and then shout out Noah Estrada if you're watching. He took first place. Well deserved, man. He's been around the scene for a minute, and he's been putting in that work, and he's got some great shit, man. He's got some great shit. So it was awesome to see the homies take the podium on that one, and like I was saying earlier, it's a nice validator, that your city just fucks with you, is that.
And it seems more genuine than what was the award show that was on not long, the Oscars or something.
Yeah.
Where this seems like the old boys club.
Right.
Patting each other on the back kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the Grammys in the music world.
Right.
Where here it seems more legitimate.
Yeah.
Even albeit smaller scale, it's not like, you got NBC and CBS and whoever else flying in to set up the cameras for it.
Right.
But it just seems more genuine as an outsider looking in.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like it's because we give the voice to the public. It's literally your community voting on everything. It's not like a committee or anything. And I've heard some people say it's just a popularity contest, but I was like, well, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
What's popping around here? That's the whole point. And so, Yeah. No, it's cool. Um, yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Yeah, I think it's really cool.
So,
I think it sparks a little bit of animosity isn't the right word, but I feel like it could create some tension in a community, you know. But I don't think it does. I've heard a couple people argue that, but um, I think it's good to be celebrated by your city. I think it's good to know that people are rocking with you or you know or not, and I don't know, work hard.
Yeah.
You know, get that shit out there.
No, I've always been a believer that, the high tides raise all ships, at least outside of corporate America. That's another animal in itself.
Yeah.
Like, I worked at a brewery for 5 years, I think.
Okay.
Went from not drinking beer to being dragged to a soft opening at a brewery to drinking the beer, saying I'm never going to work at a brewery, to then going, hey, do you mind working this weekend? And then sticking around for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
But every time somebody would
That's
come
how it
in
goes.
there, they'd always ask, hey, what else do you recommend checking out? And, everybody, all the breweries in the area would kind of point at each other like, oh, you got to go
That's
check them out
awesome.
and stuff like that. And it feels like I have the best donut shop in town.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you like my donut? You should go check out Donut Shop B down the road. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just as good, if not better, blah, blah. And then like you're saying, that validation of that,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Absolutely, man. It's just so like you said it is like we are very communal here. You know, we do look out for each other. We promote each other. I think it's gotten a lot better too. I think when I first came into the scene here, it was a little cliquey. It was a little standoffish. It was very like me versus you. But I'm gonna say shout out TYB if you're watching, because I don't think that shift really happened until TY came into the scene. Because he was really the one that pushed like collaboration and just working with each other instead of against each other. And I would argue that the hip hop scene is definitely like on the forefront of the music scene right now here, and I would attribute a lot of that to him, and not even just hip hop, but just the music scene in general. Is I feel like when people saw what we were doing and the collaborations and the shows that we put together, is like, oh shit, yeah, maybe that old way of thinking is whack. You know, maybe we should just be a community and work together and, you know, see what our similarities are instead of differences. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Shout out TYB on that one.
Well, if there's somebody listening and they're on that precipice of whether or not they should, take their music seriously, whether it's rap or whatever the case may be, what advice would you offer up for them?
Fucking do it. Do it. Who cares what anyone else thinks, you know? But if you're going to do it, you got to be real about it. You got to be authentic. You got to be true to self. Because like what I was saying earlier is like that fake shit, people can feel that, you know? If you make something that you think that other people want to hear versus what you want to make, just, yeah, people are going to feel that shit and not fuck with it. And you're not going to fuck with it. You're not going to be fulfilled with it, you know? And so if you want to make music, if you want to paint, if you want to film, make, or take photos or anything, just believe in yourself, because art at the end of the day is subjective, you know? And I get in my head about it sometimes too, is like, you know, for instance, the other day my car broke down, and I don't know shit about cars. I know nothing about cars. I could point you the steering wheel and that's about it. And that's okay. But I was like a little self-conscious about that, because when my car broke down, I like had called over this gentleman who thankfully I was at a gas station. And he had like that neon vest, like worker, like city vest on. And I was like, this guy knows his way around a car for sure. And so I called him over and he was like asking me questions about the car. And I was like, I don't know. And I was getting really self-conscious. I was like, man, I should know this. And then I was like, wait a minute. Did this guy just write "I know a bitch when I see one"? No, he didn't. Did he just write Eleanor Wolf? No, he didn't. Because he can't do that, because I do that. So why am I self-conscious about what anyone else does or what they think about me when I know what I do? And if you are listening and you know what you do, fucking do it, because you do it better than anyone else. And that's the moral of the story. No one else can do what you do, and you're not going to be able to do what anyone else does, so don't try. You know? Just go for it.
Most importantly, where can people find you on social media, and where can they find your music?
Man, you can find me on anywhere you listen to your music. I just put out a new project last week, like I was saying, and you can find that on SoundCloud, YouTube, and Bandcamp. It's called Language That I'm Deeply Ashamed of and Will Regret Forever by Miles Blvd. And you can, I guess the best place to reach me on social media would be my Instagram at Miles Blvd. That's BLVD. And then, yeah, Twitter, Instagram. It's the same handle. So, yeah, just hit me up on those, and those are my best ones, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming out tonight.
Hey,
appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
Yeah. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in this week. I will catch you next time. Here we go. Where's stream?
Beautiful.